Chuck, you've been very scathing of those of us who intend to vote no confidence in the government this evening, suggesting that it's negative, it's cynical, and why don't we concentrate on positive proposals? Well, this week, the government has an opportunity to prove that it is interested in positive proposals, because the reason I've no confidence in this government is because as we head into the summer recess, it has done nothing to take on board positive proposals to deal with the utterly dire housing and homelessness crisis and the rental crisis, blighting hundreds of thousands of working families and ordinary householders in this country. So tomorrow, People Before Profit have a bill to reduce rents to affordable levels, to link rents to people's income and to their ability to pay. Real rent controls, which you have failed to succeed in introducing. So will you support our rent reduction bill to bring rents down to 25% of median income? Why would we need such a measure? Well, we have 320,000 renters in this country, and currently average rents nationally are €1,400 a month, totally unaffordable for huge numbers of working families. In Dublin, they are €2,000 a month on average. That's €24,000 a year for an ordinary family. Absolutely unaffordable. In my area, in the last 6 months, average rents €2,600. The consequence of your failure to control these rents is we now have record numbers of families in homelessness, including children, as we head into the summer recess, and it is getting worse every week. So, as if all of that isn't bad enough, then we have a report by Killian Woods in the Business Post at the weekend where we discover who is benefiting from this misery and these extortionate, unaffordable rents. 21 of the 91 applications put in for SHD build-to-rent apartment blocks lodged by investment entities based in tax havens. In the Isle of Man, in Guernsey, in the Virgin Islands, where the identities of the investors and the shareholders are not even disclosed to the local authorities. Tax dodgers, corporate tax dodgers, benefiting off the misery of people who are paying these extortionate rents. So, my simple question, Taoiseach, if you're serious about wanting positive proposals, will the government support our bill tomorrow to set rents at affordable levels, as has been done, by the way, recently in France and other countries? Are you serious about helping people suffering from the rental and housing crisis, or are you just spoofing?
Taoiseach. Well, first of all, Deputy, I think it is no surprise to me that Sinn Féin and People Before Profit together will work very hard to have a motion of no confidence passed, and you're working hand in glove on many of these issues in opposition to the government. But I would put this to you, that your economic and Sinn Féin's economic platform is one that would undermine the capacity of many, many working people to afford a lot of things, because the anti-enterprise agenda of Sinn Féin and People Before Profit will undermine workers' incomes. Because the bottom line is this government has delivered an exceptionally strong economic recovery. The fastest growth. The truth hurts, Deputy O'Brien. You're not leader of your party. Would you allow Deputy Boyd Barrett? I know you want to take him over and subsume him. I know you want to take him over and subsume People Before Profit into Sinn Féin. But the least you could do currently is to allow him to have his say. And the point I'm making is this. That the government has delivered an exceptionally strong economic recovery, the fastest jobs growth in the European Union. And the bottom line is now unemployment stands at 2.5 million, which is significant in terms of people's capacity to deal with exceptional cost of living issues. And rent is too high in this country. Now, your bill would make it even worse. Your bill is, of course, it's simplistic, it's classic People Before Profit, produce something that will not work, you know it will not work, but it's popular and populist, non-implementable. There will be a complete flood of people out of the market. You wouldn't have a landlord left under your proposal. Not a landlord left under your proposal. But by the way, it's ill-defined anyway. Nominal median non-disposable income. Like, could you please start defining it? The bill is technically illiterate in terms of its proposition, and it's economically illiterate. There's no question it's not a workable piece of legislation, but that doesn't bother you because your whole approach, and coming from the far left, the approach is destabilization, keep producing, keep being popular, but we have to work within the real life too, which is very difficult for people. Rent is very, very high. Supply is key to resolving it. We will build a record number of social houses this year. That is important. We will also, and we've increased significantly, the discretion to local authorities, for example, in terms of the HAP assistance scheme, up over 35%. It has been introduced. And stop the mistruths and the misleading again, Deputy Premier, please. And I just want to say that the work on the HAP has been quite significant in terms of Minister O'Brien's response to the issues that were raised when people sought greater discretion for local authorities to apply to the HAP. And also...
Time is up now, Taoiseach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deputy Boyd Barrett.
I guess that's a no. Then you won't be supporting a bill to reduce rents to affordable levels. And I suppose not overly surprising from parties dominated by a disproportionate number of landlords relative to the population. And HAP, I mean, really, 1 billion now, approximately, in HAPs, RAS and leasing. Over the last 10 years, about 13 billion euro, sorry, since 2001, 13 billion euro in various rent supports, rent allowance, HAP, RAS and leasing into the pockets of landlords. And we now discover, and I know you didn't even come back on this, entities based in tax havens offshore in the Virgin Islands whose identities are undisclosed. They are benefiting from this crisis. And you're saying it's unrealistic that we control rents. Of course, when we said stop evictions, you said we couldn't do it. Then you stopped evictions during COVID because you had to. And what happened? The numbers of families going into homelessness reduced. As soon as you allowed evictions to restart, the numbers of families went up and have now reached record proportions. So the truth is you have no solutions, but you try and dismiss ours when all of yours have failed. When will you actually listen to the hardship and suffering that people are enduring out there and take on board some proposals that are aimed at ameliorating that suffering?
Yeah, I will always take on proposals once they are realistic. But you're not tabling the motion in terms of realism. You're tabling it in terms of politics of the bill. You're tabling it in terms of politics, of being ultimately popular. And you've proved it in your opening line. Who is against reducing rent? Sure, nobody's against reducing rent. So what you do is you just produce a piece of legislation, put it up on the wall, and say, reduce rents. They're voting against that. We're voting for it. We are the virtuous ones. Ignoring completely reality on the ground out there in terms of the non-implementability, if I use a phrase, coin it, whatever, of your bill. It's just not doable. Simple as that. But what is doable, yes, what is doable, and we have rent controls in the RPZ zones of 2%. No, what is doable is to build the largest number of social houses this year, which we will do, okay? And we'll have to do it every year for the next 5 years to 10 years. Build far more affordable homes, build far more cost rental homes. We will have to maintain HAP, which is a strong subsidy of people who are renting right now. You cannot eliminate HAP right now because there will be thousands and thousands of people without homes if you didn't have HAP, which is a REB subsidy, a substantial REB subsidy to people on low incomes, which is as it should be right now.
The time is up now.
That's the reality of where we are right now. We have to deal with that and build more houses. As we build more houses, we can reduce the dependency on HAP. But we simply have to get far more supply. And to be fair, your party, let's be honest with you, your party and others on local councils up and down the country have opposed housing programmes and projects. You have opposed it because it didn't fit your utopian ideal as what constitutes housing development.